So hey y'all, hey, and welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. So today, if you've enjoyed my videos or you watch me on a regular, I'd love for you to click like. I'd love for you to share with a friend. And I'm about 8 subscribers away from meeting my goal of 200 subscribers for the year. And so this morning, I wanted to do something a little bit different. It's such a beautiful day. Like when I say the sky is so blue, it is just beautiful. I don't see any clouds. There's nothing like any heavy rain clouds or anything. It's just a beautiful day. And I thought instead of recording from my office or inside the house, I would come outside. And actually, not in my community, but I visited with a girlfriend. And so I just paused at her playground or whatever this is to do this video. And I really wanted to talk for a moment, just thinking deeply about, guys know this online dating process and just dating in general. And I think I'm going to do 2 videos. I'm going to break them up into 2 different conversations. But this particular video, I want to talk about your preferences and your willingness to be flexible in the relationship. And I think the other video, I'm going to talk about the overlapping of dating. I'm going to talk about when you meet someone and they may already be dating. If they're in the dating cycle, that means that they may have other people that they're interested in, and you then are in that overlap of that dating cycle. Excuse me. But for the sake of this video, I want to concentrate strictly on preferences, and I want to talk about flexibility. And the reason that I want to talk about this is because I've been giving great thought to, at this age bracket, what does it look like when we decide that we want to date someone? What type of flexibility do we have in reference to our lifestyles and things that we have in place already that we will or will not adjust to? And so one of the things that kind of comes up, I think, on a regular basis, and I like to talk about it with guys that I'm talking with because I think it's really important, is like the little things of how you keep your house or how you maintain your car, like what those small expectations are. And you guys know I did a video a while back talking about the little things, discussing them. I did it on that Saturday morning. How likely is this a Saturday as well? Today is Saturday, December the 27th, 2025. But thinking about small things that you may not pay any attention to right now, but if you have a mate or if you desire a mate, how flexible are you with those things? So let's just say if you are a woman and you keep a really, really, really neat house, you are a single woman, you have no children in the household, you either have not had any children or you no longer have children there, you don't have grandchildren that come over on a regular basis or anything of that sort, and everything in your house is in its own specific space. Let's say that you are a bachelor and you have everything in your house in a specific space. Now, men are typically a lot more of a minimalist than most women, typically. But if you are a man and you have a house and everything in your household is in its own place. One guy told me, he said, yeah, everything has its place. And immediately, we had not even met at that time. And I thought to myself, well, we probably won't make it. And it's not so much that I don't keep a neat house, but I am not that meticulous about everything in my house. Now, things do have their place and things do have their level of order for me. So if you guys have seen my videos, on some of my videos, you all have had the opportunity to kind of see my house, to see how I keep things. For instance, the ones that you see me doing where I'm in the kitchen. I'm sorry, guys. It's something in my throat. The ones that you guys see me doing in the kitchen, there are some times that my kitchen counters are spick and span. There's nothing on the counters. Then there are other times where there are things that are on the countertops. As a mother and as someone that has lived with someone and is living with people right now in my home. That transition is getting ready to take place, but right now there are multiple people in my household, and I'm having to kind of remind them of things that I have an expectation for, how I want the countertops left, how I would like for things to be cleaned off a certain way. Now, there are times like now when I'm crafting and Christmas stuff is everywhere. Like I might come in and I might just dump everything on the kitchen table. But then the next day I'm going to come back and I'm going to clean that up and, make sure everything is put in its specific place. But I'm not so meticulous that that is going to be a deal breaker for me when it comes to a mate. And I'm saying that because, and I can only use myself as an example. There was one young man, we were talking and we had a really good vibe. And I think I did a video about it earlier on during my dating process. And I won't forget, I visited to his house. And when I did, every time I used the glass, he washed it. If I used the plate, he washed it. Now I'm watching this because in my mind, first of all, when I walked in, I told him, I said, my house is not finna never look like this. But he's a bachelor. His children are grown. He does not have anybody else that lives there with him. And he said, well, it's just me. I'm here by myself. Everything is in order. And I said, you know, I'm not going to meet that standard. And I'm not going to meet it because on days like today, I really needed to have gotten up and probably cleaned my bedroom this morning. That probably was what was on my mind. But I needed to run a few errands and I needed to go by the bank. And then I decided to get something to eat. And I was driving down the way where I had a girlfriend live not too far. I called and, she was available. So in other words, my priority was not to just clean my bedroom. The priority became the other things that I needed to do. And then when I get back home, if I feel like cleaning the bedroom, I will. And if I don't, then I'm going to sit down and watch a movie and I'm going to be okay with that for today. Now, does that mean that the bedroom is going to stay dirty from here on out? And really, it's not dirty. It's just a little bit junky. I got wrapping paper everywhere. I had been trying to, wrap gifts and things of that sort. Most of the time I do that in my room because my kids are there and I'm wrapping their gifts. But my point is, if it's a man that his house has to be immaculate all the time, me having that wrapping paper and those bowls and things of that sort kind of all over the place would become an issue for him because that would be a problem. These are the types of things that we need to really discuss and look at when we are dating someone. And if I'm completely honest, I have a mindset kind of, yes, I like my house a certain way. So I want to use real life examples. If you're married to a man that or you're dating a man and he works in a field, let's say he works in construction or he works in carpentry, those types of atmospheres, they're going to get dirty and they're going to have things that they then bring that residue to the house. You need to have a discussion. Hey baby, I want you to take that stuff off in the garage. Like I do know some friends that their husbands uniforms and stuff are so dirty that he kind of has like a little changing station like right outside the door, just so that he can leave the residue of that stuff there, and then she goes out and she gets it and she cleans it up a different way, and that helps to keep from bringing those items into their house. Now from their situation, it's so extreme because there are some allergies and things of that sort that are affected by his particular field of service. And so they have that system in place to help them to keep down the allergens that come inside the house. But it's my opinion that if my husband is working and he going to work and he doing what he needs to do, yeah, I might have a station for him to take his shoes off or something, like right there by the door or right outside in the garage or something like that. But other than that, my position is kind of like, he paying the bills. If he can't go put his shoes down nowhere else, he need to be able to put them down here. And the interesting thing is that not just with men having the liberty to be free at their own home, but women as well. Sometimes women are with men that he wants everything in such a particular way that you can't even be free to be you. And when we are looking at dating at this age, we have to be understanding enough to know that there are going to be areas of our life that we are going to have to be flexible with. Like, you have to really look at it and say, there is no perfect person out here. I'm not perfect. The people who I'm dating are not perfect. You all are not perfect. We have to figure out what is going to be a good medium for us based upon the flexibility that we're willing to give for that person. And what I'm telling you is, when you meet someone that you know they have your back, you got their back, you guys have a good chemistry, you got connection, your friendship base is there, then you can work through all the other logistics. And you can work through even the things that might get on your last nerve. Um he keeps forgetting to take his shoes off at the door. Okay, well, let's figure out another pattern for him. Maybe we need to put him some comfy shoes at the door, so he'll know when he comes in he can put those on and just take the other ones off. But in other words, I'm saying, you can't just look at a person and just discount them just because they say and or do something. In the very beginning processes of us getting to know each other, we're going to say things that we don't necessarily like. And we may and I'm not talking about somebody being ugly. I'm talking about just in our basic conversations. We might say some things that the other person doesn't like. Have a conversation about it. Speak to them in reference to it, and then see where it goes from there. If the person makes the adjustment, then that situation is resolved. If they don't, then that's when you have to look at it and say, wait a minute, let me see how this right here is going to work for real. But you have to look at, what are your levels of flexibility? Are you willing to adjust your lifestyle enough so that you can then have the accommodations for the love that you say that you want? And the thing, what I'm really learning is, you can't ask for one thing and not be willing to supplement for something else. I think that so many people are saying, I'm not willing to do this, I'm not willing to do that, I'm not willing to do this. And I have some I'm not willing to do as well. But they are not necessarily associated with logistical components. They're more associated with character and integral components. Is integral a word? But they're more associated with a person's character, their integrity, their core values. So, because logistically we can work on those other things, even if that means that that's something that I have to take ownership of in order to make the relationship work with the flow that we're giving and taking in that area. So I really just wanted to come on and talk about, what are your limitations? Like, what are your areas of flexibility? And this video was not so much to tell you anything, but just to make you think more deeply about what it is that you really want, and how flexible are you willing to be in order to get that. What adjustments are you willing to make in your life in order to assure that you can then share the love that you want, or that you say that you want? Because some of us say we want the love, but we don't want to do the work that goes along with it. And it doesn't matter, even if you have a person that is a great match, it is not going to be easy. You're going to have to work at that relationship. So you guys, again, this is Meditations with Marigny. Just some food for thought today. If you love my videos, I'd love for you to click like. I'd love for you to share it with a friend. And then I would love for you to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. All right, I'm going to come back with another one, guys. I'm going to do the overlay of relationships. Have a great day. Bye.